It's 6:14. We have breaking news this morning in Kansas City. Kansas City's stay-at-home order is now extended until May 15th.
So this morning we're joined live via FaceTime with Kansas City Mayor Quinton Lucas for more on that move. Mayor Lucas, thank you for joining us this morning early on this decision. Why is the big question? Why are we bumping back to May the 15th?
A few different reasons. First of all is the medical advice that we received. Yesterday, we heard information from medical directors of the 9 counties in western Missouri and eastern Kansas that comprise the Mid-America Regional Council. We've talked to our own health directors, and they suggest that while we've made great progress and strides so far, it's important to continue our efforts through the current stay-at-home order to make sure we don't have a rapid increase in infections and that we're still able to handle all of the demands on our hospital infrastructure from COVID-19.
Mayor, this first stay-at-home order came out as a regional effort with the Core 4, and now we are hearing from Governor Kelly that the Kansas stay-at-home order is until May 3rd, a different date, of course, than May 15th. Have you talked to the other leaders in the area? Is this going to be a regional effort moving forward again, or why are there different dates coming out?
So I believe it will be a regional effort. I think, and in fact, I spoke to the leaders of Johnson, Wyandotte counties in Kansas and Jackson County, Missouri. I'll be speaking to mayors from throughout the metro here at 8 a.m. this morning. I think what's important for us to recognize is while the governors are making choices that are important for folks in Fulton, Missouri or Hutchinson, Kansas, we need to look at this as one metropolitan area. And I think when you see that we have an excess of 1,000 infections in the metro, we continue to have certain demands based on our density, our proximity to one another, and the fact that we continue to have increases, particularly in Black and brown communities on both sides of the state line. It's vital for us to make sure we continue our efforts now to make sure our community stays safe.
It sounds like you're saying
Mayor
right
Lucas,
now that the date is not necessarily as important as the actions that people can take, because you've been a strong proponent of social distancing and that kind of thing, and people not doing it as much as maybe they should be doing. That's something you're still continuing to push, right?
You know, yeah, I think that's probably the most important part of all. I mean, there will be a number of steps we need to take, not just about what date versus another, but really more about the fact that as we reopen, as we talk about what that looks like, that's probably going to continue to be something that has a world of social distancing, wearing masks when you're going to grocery stores, ensuring that when we are in one business or establishment together, that there's lower occupancy, capacity rules will be changed. This is the beginning of a number of steps, and we see this not so much as everybody has to shelter in place for another month. Instead, we see this as something that's a step towards how does our return to normalcy look, and I think this is one step in it.
Mayor Lucas, can you just talk briefly? You know, there are people who are tired of being at home, emotionally exhausted. Businesses are struggling to get back to work. A lot of people wondering why, which you answered. Can you kind of tell us bluntly what you've heard from medical professionals about why we are taking these drastic steps? If we don't do this, what happens?
Absolutely, yeah, pretty bluntly. I think I've heard that if we pull off too soon, then we will have an increase in infections. We'll have an increase in infections throughout numerous areas, particularly of our metro in our cities. And I think that we will see more hospitalizations as a result of that, more demands on our hospital infrastructure, unfortunately more deaths. Look, I'm not here to be alarmist, but you probably saw this week that in New York City, they reported an extra 2,700 deaths of people that had died at home. They got their number beyond that 10,000. That's the sort of thing that we are able to avoid when we have fewer cases. This is why our logic throughout this time from medical professionals has been we want to lower the number of infections, the number of exposures, and thus then lower the number of hospitalizations and deaths. That's why we take these steps. Nobody wants to. This isn't part of some scheme to take over everybody's freedom. Instead, it's part of our efforts to keep people alive and safe and healthy.
Mayor Lucas, unfortunately, when you say May 15th and bump it back to that point, a lot of our audience this morning is just hearing that's another month that I can't open up my business. What do you say to the people whose businesses are still shuttered and will remain shuttered now even longer?
You know, I have 2 points. The first of which is that we understand where they're coming from. That's why I'm proud that in Kansas City, we've already started a small business relief fund. You can call 311 in Kansas City to try to keep people going. I think the other part of that I would say is that we need to work with businesses about what reopening will look like. I think this gives us time to have that opportunity and that important conversation that says that as we reopen, How many employees are coming back? What do occupancy rules look like? Who will be the employees that are coming back at first? That's the sort of work that I think we need to try to make sure we get done. And that's what I would message with businesses. But look, I absolutely understand. We are making a number of, I think, tough choices. I know in Kansas City government and governments around the country. And we do not make these sorts of decisions lightly.
It's Mayor Quentin Lucas joining us this morning. Mayor Lucas, thank you for your time. We expect to hear more from you at noon today on this announcement, so we'll look forward to that press conference today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.